means, exhaustive. It would be, it is very thorough and very comprehensive, but certainly there, we don't have any expectations that there may not be some questions after tonight. We have done presentations in all of your students' classes from grade 9 to grade 10, 11 already, and it's a different presentation for them. But I've done the same type of presentation, talked about what's required and what's needed, and have opened up the guidance office for appointments. And we've had a lot of students in already. We've had some parents call up, and I certainly anticipate after tonight there would be some opportunity for us to meet to do individual one-on-one sessions. And please, that is the point of tonight. After this, if you have more questions, reach out. We can do Teams calls where we can share screens, we can do phone calls, we can do in person, whatever's needed to make sure that everybody feels comfortable in the courses that they're choosing. So as we said tonight, kind of for ourselves, the way we want to go about it is we're going to talk a little bit about grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, and some of the other things along the way that are going to be important for us to keep in mind. All right. So we're going to start first with our students that we have in grade 9. And I'm going to just actually minimize this so it's right out of the way. Okay. What will my students learn in grade 10? And that's really going to be important for us if you have a grade 9 student. Well, certainly going into grade 10, we have to make sure that our students have been successful in either the grade 10 course or the grade 9 courses that they're currently taking. All right. So that's going to be important for us. And we'll be working with your student and you at the end of the year if there's courses that need to be repeated. There is often summer school options. We don't have what those are yet this year. They haven't been released, but certainly when they are, we'll be sharing that with you. So there may be an opportunity for some students to pick up some courses if they weren't successful in summer school. And over the past couple of years, they've been doing some online versions of summer school, which has made access even easier for students. So we don't know what that looks like this year, but we'll be sharing that as soon as it happens. So we're going to move forward. All of our grade 9 students have achieved all of their courses, so now they have to choose grade 10 courses. So what are they going to take? Well, they have to take English all year, and it's worth 2 courses. It's 2 separate courses, and one is called informational text and one is called literary text. So you may hear your students saying, I have to take infotech and I have to take literary text. It's still English 10. It's a full year course. It's just broken into 2 separate courses, and they kind of cover some different things. The nice thing about having them broken into 2 different courses is that if such a thing as a student was not successful in one of those branches, where next year we're able to just have them take the one they missed and not necessarily have to repeat all year. All of our grade 10 students within the math pathway, and I'm going to show you the math pathway after a little bit. I don't put it into the slide because it's quite lengthy and it compresses down way too much. So I'll show it to you individually in a bit to show you what that looks like. But all of our students in grade 10 have to take geometry, measure, and finance 10. And you may have seen, or hopefully you've seen, that your grade 9 math teacher has sent home a recommended courses for your math courses for your grade 9 student. And there are 2 pathways, and we're going to talk about those on the next slide. So everybody takes GMF, and then after that, there's some options. Everybody's going to take social studies, either French immersion or in English. Everybody takes science, either English or French immersion. Everybody will take post-intensive French if you're one of our core students, or you'll do FILA. You'll either do FI PDCP, which is personal development and career planning, or you'll do English PDCP. And then you're going to choose 2 electives on the bottom. And electives are those things that are your student this year did phys ed, tech, art, and music, and they did them all in grade 9. Well, in grade 10, they choose 2 of them. So they kind of want to specialize a bit. So they're going to choose the ones that they've liked the best. So if it's art, music, or phys ed, they're going to choose that and they'll take 1 for a full semester. But you're going to also notice a number 7 I have, or Intro to Applied Technology. One of the really neat things that we have the ability for our grade 10 students to do is if they take Intro to Applied Tech, they have an opportunity to get another credit in grade 10. We're going to talk about, when I say another credit, you can get some credits through math, but this is an opportunity to get another credit, and it's going to be a technology course. The really neat thing about this course is that it introduces, as it said, it introduces our students to all different kinds of trades. So I know right now they've been doing woodworking, they're doing wiring, they're learning some plumbing, they're doing framing. They're learning how to use the tools, safety rules, all types of things. So it's not a prerequisite course for a student going into the trades, but it is a highly recommended course for a student going into the trades because they get the opportunity to try all of those different types of trades, and then they're going to get to know when they get to 11 and 12, this is the one I'd like to take. So they're going to choose two of those courses, and you're going to see that on your grade 9 students form. It's a long form on the back side. They are choosing their math pathway, and they're choosing their two specialties or electives. And the electives, you'll notice on each side, have first choice for first and second choice for first semester, and first and second choice for second semester. So we really are quite, I think we're very successful in getting students their electives they want, because it usually works out that we're able to, if I can't get everybody what they wanted first semester, usually we're able to do it second semester. For the most part, it works out very well. But it's really important, and it's one of the things that I can't stress enough to our students. They have to make sure they complete that form, because if they don't, I have no idea what they want, and what they get put into is wherever there's extra spaces left at the end. So please ensure that they get that done and sent in. So you're going to notice at the bottom of that says 9 out of 10 periods, because they have to take 10 courses, if you will, even though English is 2 courses in grade 10. So what about the last one? Well, that 10th course is where they start to look at what's called that math pathway, which is on the back side of that long sheet that your grade 9 student has. There's 2 options that they have available to them. So many students will choose what's called numbers, relations, and functions, or NERF 10. And that is a credit towards graduation. There, they need 18 credits to graduate. This is actually one of those credits. As I said on the last page, if they also chose the intro to technology, that's an additional credit. So they actually could have 2 credits at the end of grade 10. But the numbers and relations and functions course is the course that's going to allow them to be on the pathway towards taking pre-calculus, calculus courses later on in grade 11 and 12. So if your student is thinking, and it's really important, because a number of our students say, well, I'm not quite sure. And so there is an opportunity, they do have to kind of start to make a choice here. Are they thinking that kind of, and we'll say towards university, because there is often, it's more so the university courses, but certainly there are some NBCC courses, college courses that will require some different math courses, things like that. So if that student is choosing that pathway, we want to make sure their first semester they're doing GMF, second semester they're going to do numbers, relations, and functions. And they're going to choose that on the back of their page. As it says, for graduation, you have to have 2 credits, NERF counts as 1, and then the other math pathways. And I will, if we have time, we'll show you. All this information is also on our website at nhs.nbed.nb.ca at the very top of the first page. Everything is there for you to have a look at that. So remember, all grade 9 students were given recommendations for math pathways. Make sure you check with your grade 9 student. However, we want to make sure that it is your family's choice to choose the pathway that you wish. Your math teacher would recommend things based upon kind of what they see in the class and do that. So option A is the number, relations, and functions choice for math in grade 10. That's kind of that university pathway, if you will. Option B is that some students may decide they're going to take what's called our financial pathway for math. And in that case, in grade 10, they are not going to take NRF or NERF 10. They're going to select the option to take financial and workplace math 11. And people will say, well, that's a grade 11 credit. It is, and it counts as a credit towards graduation. I actually, this semester, I'm actually teaching the class that has the grade 10s in it for financial and workplace math, and they're doing very well in that class. So they're doing fine in there. So that is going to be students, a lot of our students that they'll say, maybe I want to attend college, maybe I'm going to go the trades route, apprenticeship, I'm going to go straight to work. A lot of our students that are doing that pathway take this. Now, overwhelmingly, the majority of our students still do the NERF. We have 2 classes of NERF, and we have 1 class with some grade 11s mixed in for the financial workplace math. This will be one of the credits needed towards graduation. They have to have 2 overall, and as they move through into grade 11, we'll look at what their options for their second math credit If they do the NERF route, they do what's called foundations. If they do the financial workplace math, they'll do what's called workplace NBCC workplace math 12.0 or 12.08. And that gets them credits. But your grade 9 student doesn't have to worry about that right now. They're just choosing whether or not they're going to take NERF or they're going to do finance and workplace math. And if you have questions and you're not sure and you can't find the information after afterwards you have questions, I'll stay on, or give me a call at the school or set up and we can help you decide which is the best pathway for your student. So the grade 10 electives that were there, remember, as I said, the options that they have, health and phys ed, BBT, music, art, or the intro to applied tech, which usually counts as the BBT course. And the descriptions are all in that course selection sheet that I gave out to your student. Important to remember that there are some things that are called prerequisites, right? So prerequisites mean that you have to have a course before you can take some grade 11 and 12 courses. So maybe you have a student that's in grade 9 in your home that really likes phys ed type courses. So they're going to want to make sure that they take phys ed 10 in grade 10 because that's a prerequisite course for things like our outdoor education, which you may have remembered. It used to be called Outdoor Pursuits. It's the same course, a new name. Wellness 11.0, which is a phys ed course. So they wanted to do leadership through education. That's a course in grade 12. Those are all phys ed based courses that they need to make sure they take phys ed 10. The same would be as if they thought they wanted to take music 11 or 12, they would need to take music in grade 10. If they wanted to do art in 11 or 12, they would have to do art in grade 10. As I stated, the Intro to Applied Tech course is not a prerequisite. It's just a highly recommended course if students are thinking the trades moving forward. So as I said, for our grade 9 students going into grade 10, that's kind of what they have and what they need to know. The math pathway, which we'll at the very end, I'll show you very quickly. It is up on our website to have a look at to kind of move through. One of the easiest things that I find if you're kind of not quite sure, certainly give a call, send an email, and we can send something up and kind of explain it as we go through. And just in interest of time for tonight to try to look at all the grades for our folks that are on the calls. So my child now, we're moving on if you have a student in grade 10 or 11, okay? And we know that 11 and 12 are based on a credit system. And all the marks are going to go on an official transcript, which students use to apply to post-secondary. Now, some of the changes on that may be from even perhaps if you had other children that have gone through this in the past few years, there is a change in the number of credits that are required. We'll talk about that in a second. So graduation requirements, obviously completion of the grade 9-10 program. You must pass the English language proficiency assessment, which for grade 9s, that was happening recently, and making sure that's all done. And if your student wasn't successful, the school will be in touch with you to make sure that rewrites are done in time and things like that. The next line is what's a little bit different. You may have noticed that if you had older children, they needed 17 credits and out of 20 to graduate. The graduates now need 18 credits out of 21. And that's simply because we have added an additional math credit towards graduation. And that's where we found that if they take NERF, they get a credit, or if they take finance workplace math, they get a credit. So they are courses that they would be taking anyway, a second math credit in grade 10. But now they get a credit towards graduation for that. So overall, in 11 and 12, it doesn't change what they take. They're allowed to have some credits in grade 10 towards that. And certainly the compulsory credits that are there, there's 7 compulsory credits. You have to have English in grade 11 and 12. In grade 11, it's all year. In grade 12, it's half a year or 1 semester. You have to have 1 science credit. You have to have a life role credit. You have to take a modern history course, and you have to have a math credit from a grade 11 component there summers as well as a math. And all of those things are explained very well in the course guide, the thicker book that was given to our current grade 10 and 11s. And the remaining credits that you have and need are electives, all right? And there's lots of, in the back of the book, that gives, I think it's probably 11 or 12 pages, maybe more, that gives all of the descriptions of the elective courses that we have offered throughout the years at NHS. 5 of those credits that you choose must be at grade 12. Now, having said that, you can take a grade 12 course in grade 11. So for example, I always use nutrition for healthy living. If that's a course that your student was interested in, they can take that in grade 11 or they can take it in grade 12. There's no prerequisite for it other than Science 10. So they can take it anytime they want. There are some courses, for example, Physics 12, you would have to take Physics 11 before that. So some students, a lot of students will do that Physics 11 in grade 11, and then in grade 12, they'll take grade 12 physics. But certainly that's all well described and explained in the course description part of the booklet at the end. What's a prerequisite, what you have to have. There are things called co-requisites, which means you have to take something else at the same time you're taking this. Okay, so for example, if you're going to take physics, you have to also either have taken foundations math or currently taking foundations math at the same time as physics. So you'll see those information for you as well. And then we have the thing on the bottom, only 2 of the 18 required credits may be what's called a local option. And a local option is any course that's only offered at NHS. Now, we only offer one, and it's called Woodlot Management 12-0. And enrollment is capped at 15. And the school owns a woodlot. Our students work there. They learn the practice of managing a woodlot in an effective, environmentally sensitive manner. It's not offered every year because the woodlot doesn't require, an every semester kind of management plan for it. But it is something that we have offered and certainly would look at. And that's one of the important things about that course form that we'll talk about, that your student, if they're interested, they write that down so we can see what the interest is in this course. For grade 11, the planning year, the things that they have to make sure that they're choosing, okay? They have to take English 11, and I have AB just to make space, but it's also the literary text and informational text. So they have to choose two English courses in grade 11, either at 11.2 or 11.3 level, and we'll talk about what that means in a minute. They have to take a math course somewhere in what we've talked about in the math planning. You have to have a science credit. Now, people will say to me, do I have to take my science credit? And if I'm only going to take one, because I'm only going to take the one that I need to graduate, do I have to take it in grade 11? The answer is no, you don't have to. But often we try to tell our students to get those compulsory courses out of the way in grade 11, because then that really opens your grade 12 year. Because a lot of those students, for example, let's say I'm only going to take the one, they often are looking to do things like maybe a co-op in grade 12. And we don't want, and I'll tell them what you don't want is all of a sudden say, oh, heavens, I have to now take a science course, and it's right when I wanted to do my co-op. So we encourage them to get these things out of the way. They have to take Modern History 11, and they have to do a fine arts or life role course. And in the course guide on the very back page is a large list of those course guides. And I'm going to talk about some of those in a minute. It's important to make sure that you look ahead to post-secondary requirements, okay, and make sure that you're taking the right prerequisites to make sure that you have your options open for grade 12. So as I said, if you know what you're looking at requires you to take Physics 12, then you know I'm probably going to have to make sure I take Physics 11 in grade 11 and get that out of the way. Or I'm going to have to make sure I do Foundations 11 because I'm going to need another math course further down the road. And those are things that the websites of the post-secondary institutions, and certainly the schools we have with us tonight, they do an excellent job now. When you log into most websites, there's a bar at the top, and it will say something like new students, prospective students, future students. If you click on that, they do a very good job of saying, admission requirements or something along those lines. You can click on it. It'll say, most of the time they say where you're from, what's the program you're interested in, and boom, and the required courses will pop right up for you. If you're having trouble with that, that's my job. Give me a call, let me know. We can help you and your student, or your student can just come and see me, and we can go through those. And then remember, students are either going to choose Foundations Math 11 or Finance 12 as their second math credit. All right. Finance Math 12 would be for those students that took, that would have taken the Finance 11 in grade 10, or the Foundations would be those students who have done NERF. And it's really important that we try to tell our students that once you kind of get into a level, it's difficult to switch from 11.2 to 11.3 or 12.2 to 12.3. And those levels of courses tend to mean something, okay? So a 0 course tends to mean that it's kind of open for everybody. So the idea is that I'll choose what we have. We have a course that's called Human Physiology 11-0. It's a science credit, and it is a course that certainly a student who is a very highly successful academic student can take, and they'll do extremely well, extremely well. The student who maybe struggles a bit academically, but works really hard and does, is conscientious and does that as a level 3 student that takes 11-3 math and things like that, they can also take that course and be successful at that through work. Level 2 courses are those ones that, and I want to say that are kind of generally geared towards your university post-secondary type options for after high school. So it is those things you'll have a look at. So that's your physics 11-2, biology 11-2, chemistry 11-2, English 11-2, English 12-2, those types of courses. Keep in mind, remember, we just got done saying things about foundations math 11. That's an 11-0 course. So any questions we have, we want to be able to help you out with that. And the level 3 would be a lot of the times our students that are thinking, I'm going to maybe do NBCC, I'm going to do apprenticeship, I'm going to do trades, those types of things. They may choose that as well. Now, having said that, we have all kinds of students who choose NBCC that take level 2 courses, level 0 courses as well. It's important to understand what it might mean for your student in the future moving forward. So when we choose a level, it kind of describes that. So open or 0 level courses are offered at 1 level only. So law 12-0, world issues. Level 2 courses are academic or kind of university college prep, if you will. Keep that term because that's what seems a lot of, that's what I had when I went to school. And that's the kind of the term that we kind of understand what it means. And level 3 are more kind of general college prep courses as we move through our high school career. So our grade 12s. So we've looked at our grade 11s. We've chosen our specialties, our electives. We know we have our required courses out of the way, our 7 courses. We have our math chosen. We've got all through that. We now have gotten to grade 12. So for our grade 12 parents in the room, there's a lot more flexibility for you and for your student in grade 12. The only required grade 12 course, if you will, is English. Okay. So, and that's assuming that your student has done all of their elective courses, the grade 11s that they needed to do in grade 11. So that means grade 12 English is just 1 semester. So students will take it first semester or second semester. And then they have 9 courses that are electives. So everything from co-ops to skilled trades courses, to science courses, to math courses, to culinary tech, to cooking, to all kinds of things. So the choices they make, they have to make really sure they pay attention to what they want to do after high school and the post-secondary requirements that are important for all of those options available to them. We have some really neat special programs right now, and to go kind of through them all would take a long time. I can explain, but just to kind of go over them quickly. So we have a co-op program, which is fantastic, right? And co-op means that students have the opportunity to go out and work in workplaces, and often maybe in a field or things that they have interest in. And we currently have some new different types of co-op. We have what's called a long-term care co-op, where students will actually go and work in a long-term care facility. And on top of the hands-on work, they will also do a 90-hour online course that gets them the skills and the information they need to work in that facility after high school. There's also another co-op program. It's called the Early Childhood Education Co-op, where students will work in a daycare as part of their co-op, and they'll do a 90-hour online course during that co-op, in which they will then get the skills and these required skills that they can be hired straight to work at the end of high school. There's not necessarily a need for them to move on to take some things outside of that. Now, there are still options for students to do that, but those are some really neat co-op options we have. Other things that we have students doing virtual co-ops. So they're working with security companies, doing all kinds of really interesting and neat things. We have the ability for students to do French immersion co-ops. So if there's an ability for them to work in a placement that had French immersion, they could do that as well. So tons of options for co-op. The next one is our skilled trades courses. We've always had skilled trade courses, but one of the best things in my mind that has happened in recent years is you have probably heard your students saying, I have to take this life role course, mom and dad. And what does that mean? Well, on the back of the co-op of the co-op sheet, in the back of the information package, it gives a list of the life role courses. And before, it used to be pretty good. It was things like if you did a co-op, or you took outdoor education, or you did leadership or wellness, or you did entrepreneurship, family dynamics, to family living, it used to be called. Those were all life role courses. One of the best things that I think that has happened in the past couple of years is the province has come along and said any students that take skilled trades courses, they also count as life role. So if you have a student saying, look, I want to do skilled trades, that's great. They don't also have to say, but I have to take some life role course just because I need it for graduation. They're allowed to get that life role through their skilled trades courses, and that's listed for you on the back of that page. The last really neat thing about the skilled trades courses is if your student is thinking about becoming an apprentice in a trade, a skilled trade, um, the hours that they taking that course at high school, the 90 hours they take, they can actually apply those hours towards their apprenticeship after high school, provided they get 70% of the course. So it's a real benefit for our students that, and often those students that are in skilled trades, 70% is very easy because they're loving what they're doing. They're there because they want to do hands-on, they like it, they enjoy it. But that's a real huge bonus for those students that they can take those hours and move forward. We now have a new course. It's called a personal interest course, and it's not for everybody, but it's an option for those students who have a really keen interest in learning more about something that they're doing. Okay, right now we currently have some students doing some things. We have one student that is doing that really likes one skill trade. So that student has taken the skilled trade course at the school, and they wanted to learn more. They wanted to develop more that skilled trade beyond they'd taken all the courses we had offered. So they are outside of school doing things that is increasing their knowledge in that skilled trade. And they have created a portfolio. We sat down and looked at what the measurables were going to be, what they had to deliver, and how we were going to mark that student. And then throughout the course of the semester, we meet with that student at the school, and they show us their deliverables, they show what they have, and we move forward through that. So that's a really, really interesting option for our students if there's a really keen interest in something that is brand new to them, and they want to learn further on that. And there are the sky's the limit on that, but it's something that if they are interested, they have to develop a proposal, meet, and sit down and talk about what that looks like. And then, of course, our French immersion program for our students, they get out of grade 9, 10, 11, and 12. If they take their 5 courses at 11 and 12, they'll get their certificate of immersion, and then they'll have an option. They'll get an option to get some testing done at grade 12, oral testing, to have what level of proficiency they take. Well, that now has also been opened up to students that are with our core program. So if a student in our core program takes a grade 12 French course. So if they took post-intensive French 12, or if they decide they wanted to take a French immersion course, then they can also apply for and have the oral testing done, and have their level recorded and given to them. We have a student this year in the building doing that as well. So the other thing, and in the interest of time, I want to make sure that we're on track for our partners that are in tonight. So other things to consider when choosing courses. I tell students, you're interested in your hobbies. It's really important that you try to figure out, and I have students will say, well, I'm not interested in anything. Well, there are some things for everybody in these levels at 11 and 12 that are going to be, if you're hands-on, if you're sports, if you're math, if you're reading, if you're performing, if you're theatrical, if you're computer-based, there's something for you in here. And a lot of students, they just have to take some time to think about, what do I want to do, right? The other piece is the transferable skills. And I want the students to think about that, right? What do I already have that I can bring to this course? And that is super important for those students that are choosing that personal interest course, right? It also means, though, that I'm a really good person working as a team. So skilled trades is probably going to be great for me, because if I'm working up in the skilled trades shop, say doing automotive, well, we're working as a group trying to solve a problem. So I have those skills to bring forward. The other piece is balance to life in school are important to our overall health and wellness. And and I have a smiley face next to that, because it's easier sometimes said than done for our students. We certainly know that our students have, especially those students that are looking at doing things like, engineering, nursing, some of those post-secondary programs that require some heavy coursework at grade 11 and 12. It's a pretty tough pathway for them, and we recognize that. And what we mean by that is certainly we want our students to figure out a way it's such that they can make balance to that, right? And they can set their time for when they do their homework, and they have their time for when they can go for a walk or take the dog for a walk or go for a bike ride or swim or hang out with friends or whatever positive, healthy experience is good for them to increase their wellness. Because we know well-rounded individuals are typically happier, and we certainly see that. We know that there is an ebb and a flow throughout that. Right now, we tend to see some of our students in our building because it's kind of partway through the semester where their report cards are coming, so projects and things are due. So we start to see that kind of stress ramp up a little bit in our students, and then it will slowly start to kind of, abate a little bit, and then it will ramp back up again near the end of the semester. So that kind of comes and goes, and we recognize that. But overall, it's all about our students choosing something that's going to be good for them, and it's going to be better balanced for them as they move forward. So this one is a slide I can't possibly stress enough, and I've probably said it 5 times in the presentations to our students in the building, that admission requirements are not the same as graduation requirements. So those requirements to graduate will not necessarily get you into the post-secondary institution that you want, okay? So you have to make sure that you understand what you're looking at. What does that mean? Well, for example, some college programs, many of them will accept level 3s. Some programs require level 2. Our NBCC folks will talk about that tonight, and certainly our college folks. University requires specific level 2 courses. They have different requirements. And certainly we have students who always ask about the military, and there's graduation required, there's aptitude testing. If they're looking at doing some officer training, then they're going to have to take university entrance courses. So that's important for them to remember. So college and university, kind of the plan is not to kind of choose everything. It's just quickly we're going to go through and talk about some of the differences in those. And our partners tonight can do a much better job at it than I can, but kind of quickly, right? We kind of overall, and this is not exhaustive, as I said, we kind of, when our students ask, this is kind of how we generally just kind of say, if you think about this, right? College, typically the kind of the same time layout as day, 8:30 to 4, Monday to Friday, September to June. A lot of the programs are 1 or 2 years in length. Often there's some smaller class sizes, and you're often kind of training for specific skills or careers in those programs. And typically it's a little less, it's some less money to attend. University typically takes 5 courses a semester, 3 hours of instruction per week, and then you have to do more study. An undergraduate bachelor's degree takes about 4 years. Certainly larger class sizes in your first year. And you get a lot of knowledge on specific topics or subjects. And certainly for our students, that university is the pathway for them for their careers, their post-secondary life. That works very well. And for our students, that college works great. That's wonderful. And one of the things you'll find at Nacogdoches High School is we are all about what is the best for you, right? I mean, we're not going to come in and say we don't say it has to be this or this. It's this is what is best for you. Let's have a look at that. So a really quick thing just to bring up, students on, well, what do I take just to kind of show you the difference? So for example, if you had a student that was interested in UNB science, on the left-hand side of the screen, you see that's what required for graduation, right? But if you go over to the right-hand side, you're going to notice there's a whole lot more needed for university admission requirements. And that's why it's really important that students understand what they're choosing, what they need, and keep their options open. And students will say to me, well, I don't know where I want to go to university. And what I'll say to them is, let's just use science as an example, I'll say, look for the hardest university they might be interested, the one that's the most difficult to get into. Choose that. Take the courses for that university, then you're good for all the other ones. If it's NBCC, I'll tell students, the trade that you're interested in, okay? So look at what that field of trades, what's required for admission requirements, take those, and then you're probably going to be good to move forward from those. NBCC requirements, certainly you'll notice that there's some different ones. For example, like electrical has a diploma, respiratory therapy, there's some other courses that you need to take. So, I don't want to suggest by any means that NBCC is any less in terms of rigorous academics. You'll see there what's available to you, and for our students that are interested there, the options are there and your choices. So choosing courses, you want to make sure that they choose carefully. As I stated, I corrected the date. The date is they're due April 13th, 2022. This was last year's, and I guess it didn't save when I corrected the date. The last page of that package, it's very, very important that the students fill out the courses that they're interested in taking. As Mr. Newland said when we started, what this process does right now is allows us to say we have 42 students that are interested in taking course X. Well, we got to make sure that we are offering 2 sections of course X. We only had 2 students in the entire building that were interested in course Y. That probably means we're not going to be able to offer course Y because it's only 2 students interested. So it's really important. This is where they get their voice to be heard about what options, what courses they want, what levels they want, and those types of things. So we do our best to take what's wanted and then create a schedule from that students will look at and move forward on their course selections a little bit later on in May. So make sure, some will say there's an application process. It's noted in the course guide. So if students, if it's co-op, things like that, make sure you tell them to see guidance. Make sure any due dates for application for guidance. And the last one is please set up a meeting with guidance if you're still uncertain on anything that's required. Now, what I said I would do is very quickly, one last thing is just show and maybe it went away, is the math pathway. Mr. Newlands, can you see a math pathway now on my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. So this is the math pathway that there are copies online on the website. Your students, for grade 10 and 11, it's in the back of your booklet. For grade 9, there were copies made and given to your student's advisor, and if they want to get one. I'm not going to spend a lot of time tonight going through it all, but you can see there's kind of 4 different pathways for graduation. It starts with Math 9, then GMF, and then pathway 1 is the Finance Math, Finance 12, pathway 2, NERF, Finance, and you'll see the pathways that are there for you. Increasingly more math courses as you move your way all the way through. That is not exhaustive, but on the bottom, just some examples of the types of programs that you may be able to get into with those different pathways for you. So this document is a really good document for you. It is on our website. You can have a look at it, print it off. If it's something you can't get access to, let me know and I can email it to you as well. But this is a really good guide for kind of future math courses. Your grade 9s are only going to be choosing NERF or Finance. Our grade 10s and 11s are going to be choosing, foundations, pre-calculus or calculus, depending on where they are, 11 or 12, and where they are in their post-secondary planning and the courses they're looking at moving forward with. Okay, so that is quick. I do know there was a lot of information that I gave through that, but certainly it was, as I stated, I didn't want to, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. I didn't want to kind of overload you with information, but please, as we move forward and you have more information that you're looking for, please reach out. We have as many opportunities to do in-person information sessions, one-on-one, online phone calls, or anything moving forward from that. So I'm going to stop with my portion. Our 2 partners have joined us tonight. We really appreciate them taking the time and certainly in interest of their time as well. So as Mr. Newland said at the beginning, we have Natalie Carrier with us from St. Thomas University tonight, and you'll see we have Angie Gooden with us from NBCC Woodstock, and both are, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but both are admissions counselors for their respective schools. They are the folks that I go to on a regular basis if I have questions, as late as today, with helping students navigate through some application processes and things like that. So they are absolutely fantastic. What I'll do maybe, Angie, we can kind of jump with you if you want to kind of go first, and then when you're done, Natalie will allow you to go, and then if there's any questions, we'll remain around for a bit after that. And certainly for our partners, We'll have their information at the school, and if you want to reach out to them afterwards, we can get you the information, and you can reach out afterwards and set up individual meetings with them as well. So I'll turn it over to you, Angie.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Mr. Gallup. Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me here. I know we're running a little short on time. Would you rather that I just kind of showed them the website and talk a little bit about profiles, or I don't want to take up too much time?
Yeah, no, it's
screen sharing capabilities too there, Angie, if you need it.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's not highlighted right now. If you can. Would you rather that I just kind of walked through the website and the profile admissions and talk about some of our courses, maybe for the interest of time, instead of doing my presentation?
Sure, yeah, that would be great. Yeah, and,
Okay.
and that way that because I know there's lots of opportunity for presentations and things individually
Absolutely.
to do stuff. So
yeah, and I like to give people the tools that you can do your own homework and kind of check things out yourself. I find it really helpful if you know where to find that information. So just as soon as it pops, oh, there we go. Thank you very much. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to put my screen up, and you should be seeing, hopefully, here soon. All right. Can you guys see the MBCC website?
yes.
Okay, fantastic. So I can no longer see any of you. So if you have a question, just please speak out. So what I wanted to do tonight is just kind of show you our website, show you where to find the tools. Every time I listen to Mr. Gallup's presentation, I think, oh, there's such great information in there that he's giving out to parents. So many opportunities that people don't realize. As he mentioned, my name is Angie Gooden, and I'm a recruitment advisor. I work here at the Woodstock campus, but I represent all 6 of our campuses. And something I'm really passionate about is spreading the information about MBCC, because so many times we have no idea all of the great programs that MBCC has to offer. We're very well known for trades. That's what most people associate with MBCC, is trades. But we have so much more to offer that perhaps you didn't realize that your child could take at MBCC, and the careers that they could possibly have. So what I'll do is I'll show you here under programs and courses to kind of get an idea of what we do offer. Scroll over here under full-time education and click on full-time programs. So MBCC has over 90 career options. That's a lot of different programs. So some of the things that you can do to help narrow it down as you're doing your search, perhaps you want to look and see, what do we offer in Woodstock? So right here under campus, just select Woodstock, leave it at all program areas and do a search. This is now going to pop up only the programs that we offer here at the Woodstock campus. So you can see the great programs we have in business, social sciences, trades, health, and IT. Great opportunities for you. But perhaps your student, any campus is open to them, but maybe you're just looking specifically, you want to see what program areas we do. So we've taken all of our program areas and we've divided them up into sectors. So all courses are divided into a sector. Maybe admin professional, they're looking to work in an office. Applied and media arts, so many times people don't associate that with MBCC, but we have some great programs in that area. So all you would need to do is click applied and media arts and say search, and then it's going to show you what we have. Animation and graphics. Some of our graduates have gone on to work on Hollywood films. Some really great, the Lego movie, stuff like that. So this is a great program that we offer in the Miramichi. If you have a student that is interested in gaming, we have a great game development. And then there's down here graphic and communications design in Moncton. So don't have enough time to go through all 90 programs and even talk about all the sectors, but just take a look here. There's so many different opportunities that, again, perhaps you didn't associate with MBCC. Civil engineering technology, great engineering programs, 1- and 2-year programs. Train your child, get a job, and they're out and they're working. New ones in the energy sector, environmental and marine systems. If your child is interested in working to save the environment, and great opportunities there. Health, of course, we're very well known for our practical nurse program. A lot of times people don't realize you actually have to come to MBCC to get your respiratory therapy diploma. You can start out going to UNBSJ, but all students eventually end up at MBCC if you want to be a respiratory therapist. Hospitality and tourism, great programs if you want to be a chef, if you want to run a hotel or work in travel. IT, this area obviously is exploding because there's so many IT needs in the world today. Mechanical and industrial, social sciences. So if your child is interested in working with young children, if they want to work in the school system, if they want to work with people with special needs or disadvantaged situations, a variety of programs there. And then, of course, last but not least, the cornerstone of NBCC is our trades, building and construction, metals processing, and mobile equipment. So many programs there. All of those are listed here on our website. So how do you figure that out? Let's go up and take a look at health. So we want to see, what do you offer for healthcare programs? All of the programs are listed here. When you click on any particular program, it's going to take you to the program page. So I'll just pick medical lab tech. Every page is exactly the same. It tells you what campus it's located, when does it start. All of our programs are currently being delivered in a blended delivery. So that means that some of your training is going to be done in person at the campus, but potentially you're also going to have some courses that are delivered in an online format. NBCC uses what we call Brightspace, so students log in and their instructor is there, and it's all done through a virtual classroom. It depends the program that you're in, how much of your training will be done in that virtual classroom. Obviously, medical lab tech, you've got to be in our lab and you've got to be using the microscope to analyze those specimens. We can't teach you that online, but we can teach other things like anatomy. We can teach that online. So every program differs. Depending on where your child is, if they're looking at school in this fall, could be completely different as opposed to if you have a student in grade 11, what it's going to look like the fall of 2023. We hope to be more and more in person, but with the COVID pandemic, we've been able to, I use the term pivot to quote friends, and very easily we were able to pick up the technology because we were already using it to deliver our programs in a virtual format. Carrying on to the program page, there's a program overview, so kind of get an idea of what are you going to do in this program, down to the duration. So is it 1, 1.5, 2? This particular program is 2.5 years long. We only have a couple that are 3 years. Most of our programs are between 1 and 2 years. But this is the point of tonight's meeting, admission requirements. Super, super important. I know Mr. Gallup has stressed over and over. I always say to students, don't limit yourself. If you're capable of doing the higher level course, absolutely do it, because you don't know in grade 10 exactly what you want to do. So don't limit yourself. I've seen so many students come to me in their senior year and they didn't realize that they had to have a certain science or a certain math. So don't limit yourself. But I also want students to be encouraged to know that there's really great careers and really great opportunities at NBCC, that you don't have to have a lot of sciences and a lot of math courses. Some of our courses, 100% you need to have. So it's that fine line between making sure people know that some courses you do have to have those higher level sciences and math courses, but a lot of our programs are what we call Profile A. So your student just needs to cross the stage and get a diploma. Doesn't matter about their math, doesn't matter about their sciences, they just need to graduate. A note of interest, every program at NBCC, we will accept English 11-3. So there's no program at NBCC that you have to take level 2 English. The requirements come into math and sciences. That's where we have some requirements. So medical lab tech, most of our healthcare and our engineering programs, you're going to have certain maths and sciences. But when you look at our trades, when you look at our social sciences, you just need to cross the stage. Doesn't matter what you take for particular courses in high school. So again, I point everyone to look at this because this is what you need to be looking at. So if your child is in a younger grade, just start looking around. Look at some of our courses. And I say to kids when I talk to them, there's got to be something that piques your interest in NBCC. Out of 90 courses, something must be interesting to you. So take a look and see, just to get an idea, what might I need should I choose that course. Career possibilities, this is really great too, because sometimes we don't know, if I take this particular program, where am I going to work? So this gives them an idea of where that might be. And then is there anything specific consideration? For example, good health and a good level of fitness. This is important in this career. So this is really important on every program. And last but not least, this is a really fantastic part of our program page. It lists exactly what courses you're going to take. The biggest difference, not the biggest difference, but one of the biggest differences between NBCC and university, you don't pick what courses you're going to take with NBCC. University have more flexibility. You can pick from different things, but at NBCC, we already know what you need to know in order to graduate from that particular program and get a certificate or a diploma in that program. So we tell the students, this is what you're taking and this is when you're taking it. So I saw one of the slides there commented about it was a little more like high school. It is a little bit more. It's typically Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 3:30 or 4:30, and your schedule's laid out for you. So all of the courses that you're going to take while you're a student in this program are laid out here. And this is kind of neat. If you click on the program, it gives just a brief description of what you're going to take when you're in that particular course. So I would have no idea what applied biochem analytes is, but this tells me what it is. So that's kind of a neat thing that is on every single program page. Another thing that I will show you, because this is super important, what's it going to cost to come to NBCC? You can click on this green tuition and fees button, but that's going to give you an average of all 90 programs. To know your program specifically, click on domestic, and then it's going to break it down for you. All of our regular programs are the same: tuition, student government, health and dental. You can opt out of this if you have coverage yourself and your child will be continue to be covered for you through you. They can opt out of this. All students pay a tech fee, but then this is particular to your specific program. Book costs. So in your first year, very expensive in medical lab tech. This is probably our most expensive at $1,700. Books are very expensive, but medical lab tech is definitely one of the most expensive ones. Clothing cost, what do you need to have? This isn't a fee that you pay to us. It's telling students you need to have $270 for clothing. In this particular program, you have to buy a lab coat from us. If you're in welding, you're just going to need a welder's helmet and things like that. So it's just telling students to give them an idea. And then there's other cost. Healthcare programs, it's usually around $1,000. Typically, a high school graduate does not need that because that would be if they had to go buy every single immunization. Obviously, our students in our healthcare programs are doing clinicals at the hospital, so they need to be fully immunized. So that just gives them an idea. I know I'm talking really fast, so I apologize, but I'm trying to be conscious of our time and not keep you here too long. It does go on to show you year 2, your book cost drops drastically, and there is no other cost because you've already looked after that in the first year, and then there is a half a year at the end. So every program is exactly the same and has that on the program page, so you can have an idea of what your particular program is gonna be looking like. One other thing I'd like to, I shouldn't say one other thing, but another thing I'd like to mention, a lot of times people don't realize the great thing about coming to NBCC is a lot of our programs have what we call articulation agreements. So transfer agreements. When you graduate from NBCC, you can go direct to work. Every single program trains you to go to work in that field that we're training you for. But some of our programs have these transfer or articulation agreements that you can then go on to university and get credit from your education at NBCC. So you can find that one of two ways. At the bottom of the page, each program page will tell you the articulation agreement. So for example, this particular program, we have an agreement with UMBSJ for the Bachelor of Applied Management degree. We have an agreement with UMB Fredericton, and that's in regards to the Bachelor of Medical Laboratory Science program. And then St. Stephen's University, we have an agreement with them as well. So you can either look at each individual program on the program page, or you can come up here to admissions and finances, and then scroll over here to pathways and transfers. And the pathway agreements, when you click on that, there's a PDF here, and it shows you every single program that we have an agreement with and who we have that agreement with. So what is the agreement and who is it with? It's all listed here for you to take a look at. So that's something that's really important that I'd like to talk to parents about, because so many times parents don't realize that that opportunity exists. There is really great options for your student. And the great thing is when they graduate, they can 100% go to work because we've trained them, we've given them the skills to get a job, but potentially they could then transfer to university. It doesn't apply to every single program. Obviously, like our trades programs, there's not a lot that's transferable to university, so we don't have agreements with most of our trades. If it's a 2-year trade, we do have agreements, but most of our trades are 1-year programs and there's not agreements. But there are for business programs, so many opportunities. We even have new agreements with DAL and SMU. We've always had great agreements with STU and UNB. There's great opportunities there for students. So that's something that parents don't realize, and think about the money that your student can save if they choose that option. So really great opportunities there. It's hard to know without knowing what your child is thinking about. Some of them that exist, you can take a 2-year early childhood education program with NBCC. Fairly new program through UNB. It's called Bachelor of Education in Early Childhood Education. So you do 2 years at NBCC in our early childhood education program, and then you actually go to UNB. It's online and it's 2 years. And when you graduate, you have a Bachelor of Education in Early Childhood Education. It gives you a teacher's certificate and you can teach in the public school system at kindergarten to grade 3. So that's pretty amazing. That's fairly new. It's only been around, I would say this is probably the 3rd year. It's a really great opportunity if your child is interested in becoming an early years teacher. If they're looking at high school, it's not the program for them, because they're going to spend 2 years here at NBCC learning how to work with little kids. And then they're going to do 2 years with UNB online, and then they're going to be able to teach in the public school system, kindergarten to grade 3. So that is exciting, and that's fairly new. So many opportunities. Great programs, great opportunities. Trades is the way to go. We have so many careers available in trades, and trades is booming right now. Such a great opportunity for students to have a great life, make very good money in their trade, and love what they do. If your child is interested in working with their hands, there's so many different things in the trades that we can talk about. Grade 11 students can apply April 1st. Because NBCC does a first qualified, first accepted. So what that means, and I'm always hesitant when I talk to students about it, I say, I'm not telling you to not do your best and not get the best marks you can possibly get, but I am telling you that we don't rank. So if you meet the admission requirements and we have a seat available, you're in. So we do not rank students anymore, but that's also really important because sometimes we have a wait list for our programs. Respiratory therapy, medical lab tech, huge wait list for those programs. So I'd love to have conversations with you individually if you have questions. There's so much that I could talk about, but I just really wanted to touch base with you about our profiles, make sure that you are aware and starting to think about, okay, what do I need to get into a program at NBCC? Most of our programs, you just got to graduate, but we do have more and more every year that you have to have certain maths or sciences. So we want to make sure your child is setting themselves up for success and getting prepared for their education at NBCC. So we have lots of opportunity to connect. I can put my email and my cell number in the chat, and feel free to reach out to me anytime. Maybe you have questions, you're not really sure what we do offer. Or maybe you want to talk a little bit further about some of the things that I mentioned, because I know I've been talking really fast. So the grade 11 application date of April 1st, absolutely, your students can apply. If there are already grade 11 parents on this call, give me a call and we can talk about it. It seems kind of odd, but your student actually has to pick fall 2022 if they're applying now, and then our admissions department will see that they're in grade 11 and they'll defer their application to next year. To apply is super easy. It's right here on our website. You click this Apply Now button, and then it walks you through step by step. I just say to everyone, make sure you read the information. We all have a habit, I'm guilty as well, of just skimming through and trying to move on, but take a few minutes to read the information and it'll guide you through that very easily. I think that's pretty much all the highlights, Mr. Gallup. Can you think of anything that I've missed?
No, I think that's great, Angie, and I appreciate that. And just for the parents that are on the call, Angie and I are working right now. As a matter of fact, in the next couple of weeks, Angie's going to be down to our school, speaking to our grade 11s before the final kind of course selection date comes up. So she'll be in the building talking to our grade 11s, delivering an even a little more thorough presentation to them about courses and what it means and things. So, and I will also put the date of that through the guidance site on our school website, I post a lot of information, and Twitter will say that as well. Just so, maybe mention your student if you have someone interested. Hey, have you heard about when that NBCC day is going to be so far? So that's great as well. So that's going to be occurring very soon. So as I said, for Angie, maybe if we'll in the chat, if you wouldn't mind putting your phone number and email in there, that's you did right there, perfect. And folks can reach out to that and have that information moving forward from that. So thank you, Angie. I appreciate that very, very
Absolutely.
much. That's great.
Thank you, guys. Reach out anytime. Very accessible. Nice to see you, Natalie. Have a great night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks. And Natalie, thank you very much. Appreciate, I know it's been a longer time waiting for it to come. I do appreciate you taking the time tonight. I know you guys are being pulled in 100 different directions to do presentations at this time of year. And so I'll turn it over to you with no further ado. Thank you. And it's all yours.
Yes, thank you so much. So I'm going to just start by sharing my screen. I think I'm going to take Angie's format and just show a bit about the website and the programs that we offer and where you can find everything on our website. So I don't know if can you see it?
Yeah, we can see it there now. Thank you.
Okay. Perfect. So for some reason it disappeared on my end. Okay, perfect. So here we have our website. What's nice about St. Thomas is that there's actually really only one program that students can apply into directly from high school, and that would be our Bachelor of Arts program. And within our Bachelor of Arts program, we offer almost 30 different majors. So that can be anything from criminology and criminal justice to psychology to history, different languages. So we are actually only a liberal arts university, which means that we specialize in offering the social sciences and the humanities. So if you have a student that is interested in maybe going into social sciences or humanities, we might be a great option for your child. I myself was a graduate. I graduated in 2019 from a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science. So that was something that I was really interested in and actually came from the United States to go and do here at St. Thomas. So I will talk a little bit more about our admission requirements in a second, but I will first go over a few more of our programs that we do offer. So one that's in conjunction with NBCC, as Angie was just talking about, would be our Applied Arts programs. So we offer two different applied arts programs in conjunction with NBCC, one being our Applied Arts in Criminology and Criminal Justice, which is a 2-and-2 program. So your student would be able to go to NBCC for 2 years and then would be able to transfer to us to do an additional 2 years to then get a Bachelor of Applied Arts in Criminology and Criminal Justice. And the other applied arts option that we offer here at St. Thomas would be our Applied Arts in Gerontology program, where you would do 1 year of NBCC in Human Services, and then you would do 3 years here at St. Thomas in order to get an Applied Arts in Gerontology, which is the study of aging. So that's a really cool opportunity that we do offer with NBCC. In addition to that, we also offer a Bachelor of Social Work program. I'm going to go into this a little bit more as we have recently changed the structure of our Bachelor of Social Work program. What students have to do if they are interested in doing a Bachelor of Social Work is first to apply to our Bachelor of Arts program. Similar to our articulation agreements with NBCC, you would do 2 years and then an additional 2 years. So it would be 2 years first in our Bachelor of Arts program before students are then able to apply into our Bachelor of Social Work to do 2 additional years. So that means that your student would be able to graduate in 4 years with a Bachelor of Social Work. So that's a really cool option if your students are interested in maybe going into social work, because you actually do not have to take it as a post-degree program, meaning that students do not have to do 4 years first before then applying to social work, which is what our program had been previously. So if you do have older children that may have been looking into social work, that's something to take into consideration as well. We also offer a Bachelor of Education program, which is a post-degree program. So if you have students that are interested in maybe becoming teachers, we do offer a program that actually allows for students to teach all the way from kindergarten to grade 12 through our Bachelor of Education. And you do first need a 4-year degree. That doesn't necessarily have to come from St. Thomas. Your student could go somewhere else like UNB, DAL, basically any institution in Canada, and then could apply for our 11-month Bachelor of Education program after completing their bachelor's degree. So that's a little bit about what we offer here at St. Thomas. Our flagship program really is our Bachelor of Arts. That is what most of our students do come to learn about. So I'm just going to go a little bit into the admission requirements. Our admission requirements can be found here under the Future Students tab on our website. You can also see here, if you have any questions, there is the option to chat either with one of our students or one of our staff members. So that always pops up. If you do have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to them there, or you can feel free to send us an email. Then you would go to the sidebar here. The first is academic programs, which is where I just was. And then the next one would be admission. So if you click on the admission, the first thing you'll see are entrance requirements. And here you can find the entrance requirements for all of the different programs that we offer. If you're wondering why I keep looking in this direction, I just have my second screen up, which has the website on it. So I keep looking in this direction. But I'm just going to click here on Bachelor of Arts. And then you'll find all of the different provinces here in Canada. And we're just going to go to New Brunswick first. So here at St. Thomas, we require one specific course in order to be accepted, in addition to 4 other courses that are required, but it's optional which courses your student can take. So we do require that students take English 12-2, which means that in order to take English 12-2, in grade 11, your student would have to take English 11-2. In addition to that, we are looking for 4 additional courses from our approved list of courses. And one thing that I just like to make students and parents aware of is that there are some categories where we can only accept 1 course out of a group of 4 courses for admission to St. Thomas. So for example, if students took Law 120 and Business Organization and Management 120, we would only be able to take 1 of those, and we wouldn't be able to take both of them into consideration for admission. I know that can get a little bit confusing, but it's all written down on our website. You'll see that there's some large chunks of text, and that's typically where we can only take 1 from a specific category. So for example, we can only take 1 art course. That can either be theater arts, dramatic arts, visual arts, or music, but we wouldn't be able to take, for example, music 12-2 and theater arts 120 for consideration to our Bachelor of Arts program. So that's just something to keep in mind when students are looking at the Bachelor of Arts program. Between these 5 courses, we are looking for a minimum of a 70% average. So we would take your students' top 4 courses in addition to English 12-2. So if, for example, they have taken English 12-2 and then they've taken, let's say, 7 additional courses, I know that's a lot, but we would actually only look at their top 4 best courses, which is really nice when looking at scholarships because it enables students to have a higher average than they might if we take their entirety of courses that they've taken. Now that I've talked a little bit about scholarships, I'll also quickly go into costs and sort of what that looks like. So the cost can again be found under the Future Students tab under the tuition and fees. And this is what it would look like for every year. So our tuition for the Bachelor of Arts program for Canadian students is roughly around $7,656. This does change depending on each year. It doesn't typically go a whole lot higher than this, but it is subject to change. One thing that I would like to put out there is that we do offer both scholarships and bursaries. And the difference between a scholarship and a bursary is that scholarships are based off of merit and activities that your student has taken part in, and bursaries are based off of financial need. So if you believe that you would be of financial need, it's really a good thing to apply for our bursary program, as we do look at things like income and how many children you have, and we take all of that into consideration when assessing students for scholarships and bursaries. I know I just talked very quickly, and I know that we are running short on time, but Yeah, so just taking into consideration, one thing I can suggest mostly is that if your student knows maybe where they think that they want to go or they aren't quite sure, just take a look at the admission requirements for each individual school as well. We don't require that a student takes a math course. We only require the English course. Some other universities do require specific math courses, so that's good to really keep in mind. Basically, when they're looking at their grade 11 and their grade 12 courses that they're going to be taking this upcoming year. Yeah, so I think, is there anything else that you'd like me to touch on today, or did I miss anything?
No, that's fantastic. And I think, and I really appreciate kind of where you went and kind of the hope for tonight. And we hope that the parents that are attending get an understanding of kind of that wide variety of what's needed for post-secondary planning for our students right now, and that the information is there. And a lot of sites are set up like yours, prospective students, what's there, what's out. And if they can't find it, there's lots of folks like yourself, like Angie at the, just at the 2 different schools that they can reach out to get the information that's available. And certainly, and I know Sean can attest to this. I mean, at Naquick High School, it's fantastic, the partnership we have with St. Thomas, with NBCC. I mean, and anytime we've ever needed assistance, help, it is as quick as we can possibly get from them in terms of information for your students and things like that. So we absolutely, it's great. And I can't sing the praises enough of what we get from them in terms of help and assistance. So we appreciate that very much. And Natalie, once again, Natalie, would you mind maybe in the chat just popping your email? And I know we have another counselor kind of deals with Naquick, but maybe they could reach out to you and you might be able to forward them off to
I'll put my email and my phone number in the chat.
Great, thank you. So we have a couple. We kind of have a counselor that's admissions counselor, somewhat responsible for Naquick, but he's traveling, and Natalie agreed to take us on for tonight and jump in his place and take that on. So you can reach out to there, and if it's something that we need, Natalie can forward you along or can answer your question that we have is there. So Natalie, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Are there any immediate questions for Natalie from anybody that we have? Oh, hearing none. Thanks, Natalie. Appreciate you joining in tonight, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you. All right, so Sean, I think that is all that I have. I'll turn it over to you there now from me. So I've talked enough for everybody tonight.
Well, thanks a lot, Chris, for agreeing to put this on again, the session on. I really appreciate that. I know and for parents that are on here, don't hesitate to call Chris or myself or Ross, like any of us, with any questions that you have. We're available anytime. But it's one of the big components of Chris's job, is to help support students with their post-secondary plans, and he's always willing and always working with parents and students, on those plans. And does a great job at that. So, I want to thank Chris for his work tonight and for his ongoing work and supporting students with those efforts. And that's the end of our evening, but we can certainly answer any questions if you had any specific ones, just, for your own children that you wanted to ask, or, any other questions about high school graduation requirements or post-secondary options.
Sorry, I should unmute myself. And certainly if there's any questions you want to ask one-on-one, when we're done, you can just hold on. And if you want to ask it individually, as we're finished, to kind of hang on there as well, or anything like that. So.
Well, thank you very much. It's been informative. I appreciate the time you guys have taken to put this together. It's amazing.
Yes, thank you very much.
No problem at all.
Only thing we'd ask is that we tell people how good it was, so in future years more people come on. So we'd love to have every parent please join on or be around. So and it's funny, and it's just a quick aside, and I tell it every year, the parents who come, they go and tell other people, and they're like, wow, geez, I guess I should have gone. Yes, you should have.
Yeah.
That's what we tell them.
You should have. That's what I'll be saying.
Yeah.
All right, so like Chris said, we'll stay on for another few minutes if anyone has any questions, but that is the end of the presentation. And I just thank everyone for joining, and we will post the video to our school website as well. If you wanted to, if there's any other information you wanted to see, or the NBCC presentation or STU presentation was too fast, or you missed a link on how to access a certain part of the website, you'll be able to go back and review the video. So, and you can fast forward too. You don't have to watch the whole thing again.
Well, thank you very much. Have a great evening.
You too, Rhonda. Take care.
Bye-bye.
See you, Chrissy.
Thanks.
See you later, Beth. So Chris, I'm 99% sure that Natalie Carrier is Noah's roommate's sister.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, when she said she came up from the States, I didn't clue in, but Noah's roommate's a Carrier, Tristan
Oh.
Carrier. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
I just thought, I wonder, because I knew she was affiliated with STU. I didn't know what she did, but I knew she was had done a master's at STU and was studying there. And so I just went on Facebook and yeah, sure enough, they're mutual friends, both from North Haven, Maine.
Oh,
So
that's hilarious. That's
Yeah.
kind of funny. Yeah, yeah.
uh,
So yeah, no, I mean, she was good too, and Angie's always awesome, right? I mean, she's
oh yeah.
like I said, we do get fantastic service from them, but I think it was good. I mean, it's always a dream. You always wish you'd see more parents. The parents come on, always love the information they get, but you just wish more parents would come on to this stuff, right? Because it's
Yeah, like you would think with the online presentations, we'd have a lot more.
well, that's what we thought, because they don't have to leave their house. They can sit in their
Yeah.
pajamas, and just log on. But I don't know. I don't know. Not sure. So
Anyway, maybe next year we're face to face. We'll have a better turnout. Maybe not, but
I mean, and that's it. It's I mean, to get people to come, this is certainly a much better way to do it, because you can, or like for our partners, right? Like, so you don't have to ask St. Thomas to drive down or MECC to drive down. I mean, I think it's the way we keep doing it, and just
even face to face. We could do face to face for parents that
and
have
they
to
log in.
in from teams. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
so
no,
there's different,
exactly.
different
No,
hybrid
that's good.
models. Anyway, thanks again for doing that, and
All right, we can check that off the list for this year. It's another item done.
yeah, and I'll get this thing posted somehow if I can figure it out.
Yeah, because I think you'll get an email after a bit. I think it says saved or something, and you can
think
just
so, yeah.
post that. So yeah, no, and I will post the presentation there too, from tonight up on the
Okay.
website too. So
Perfect.
very, very good, sir. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Take care.